Gotta move like a vet, smooth like a jet, cool on the set, I look cool when I'm dressed. Most of them hate when they highly obsessed. I gave my heart to it, ain't nothing left. Gotta move like a vet, smooth like a jet, cool on the set, I look cool when I'm dressed. Most of them hate when you highly adept. That's how it go when you run up them checks. Gotta move like a vet, smooth like a jet. Gotta move like a vet, smooth like a jet. Gotta move like a vet, smooth like a jet, cool on the set, I look cool when I'm dressed. Gotta move like a vet, smooth like a jet, cool on the set, I look cool when I'm dressed. I look at these niggas a mess. Do anything just to feel a success. Step on each other, they go get a bag and turn into fags for greed and lust. My concern is they go get the cats. I be showing my ass when they left in the dust. These niggas always be hating on us, so be sounding like bitches and making shit up. I really don't do the faking too much. I'm on ice and I lay in the cut. Nasty bitch like my thumb in the butt. When she slurp it, she goggle it up, and she call it a marvelous lunch. I feel like the marvelous one. These niggas be starving for crumbs. Turn on your fast for a cool lump sum. That's why I sit where I rip my day ones. If not, the niggas was fake like A1s. And I mean the China kind. These niggas is never stopping mine. Shoot up some shit at the drop a dime. Rain on you quick like it's Columbine. Do what I do when I gotta grind. Fuck what you talking, don't waste my time. Move like a vet, smooth like a jet, cool on the set, I look cool when I'm dressed. Most of them hate when they highly obsessed. I gave my heart to it, ain't nothing left. Gotta move like a vet, smooth like a jet, cool on the set, I look cool when I'm dressed. Most of them hate when you highly adept. That's how it go when you run up them checks. Gotta move like a vet, smooth like a jet. Gotta move like a vet, smooth like a jet. Gotta move like a vet, smooth like a jet, cool on the set, I look cool when I'm dressed. Gotta move like a vet.
Love, peace, and power, everybody. My name is Kilo Kiano, aka Konami Codes. Welcome back to the Mystery Arcade Occult Multiversity. Happy Saturday. Claude Mercy. Seems like there's always so much going on. I want to say rise in power to Wanda Smith, popular Atlanta radio personality. Passed away earlier today, I believe. She was a staple. Anybody familiar with Lonnie Love? She came up with her. She's going to be sorely missed. We've lost a lot of celebrities, a lot of public figures in the last few weeks, last few months. Not so many women. This is one of the first women I can remember we've lost, but I definitely want to give her her flowers and have a wonderful, safe journey. And all love, peace, and power condolences to her family. What's going on, man? How y'all feeling? Love, peace, and power. Machete, thank you for joining. Everybody on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, everybody who's going to see this later. It's going to be an interesting one, man. I was going to actually do this last week, and information kept coming, downloads kept coming, realizations kept coming. And I'm thankful that they did, because the perspectives I've gained just by being open, being able to pay attention, and being someone who loves to play games. We're going to get into some shit tonight. Love, peace, and power, legend. Thank you for joining, man. Happy to see you, God. So let's start with this clip. I think this will get us started.
I know this is a little controversial, but if you notice people's hands that have a lot of lines, like they are unlimited amount of lines, and you can see a lot of triangles. They're triangles from line of life, line of head, then the middle of your fate line, all the way down. And if you see many triangles in your lines, it is said in palmistry that this could be because of black magic, and people that suffer the effects of black magic show all these lines.
Who are the Black Priests? The Black Priests are a group of immensely powerful beings who emerged during the Incursions, an event in which different universes started to collide with Earth as its impact point. They chose a rather radical approach to stop the Incursion crisis. They started destroying various Earths around the multiverse, hoping that it would stop universes from colliding. The Black Priests are also incredibly powerful. They can distort reality by uttering a single word, although it's been stated that some beings are able to resist their spells. Their precise origin is unknown, but Doctor Doom has speculated that there's some sort of a defense mechanism of the multiverse to stop the incursions. Doctor Strange later joined the Black Priests after failing to stop another incursion, and even became their leader.
So why am I realizing that Brother Voodoo was in the Doctor Strange movie and he almost met Stephen Strange? Well, sorta. You see, the Brother Voodoo that we all know is Jericho Drumm, who made his first appearance in 1973 in Strange Tales number 169. He is pretty much the Sorcerer Supreme, practicing particularly in voodoo, and actually became the Sorcerer Supreme years later when Doctor Strange couldn't perform the role anymore. What a lot of people don't know about Brother Voodoo is that he also has the spirit of his brother Daniel Drumm, which gives him like this extra boost of power when it comes to his voodoo and magic practicing. I'm just realizing that that's Daniel, that's the leader of the Sanctum Sanctorum in New York in the movie. Caecilius like straight up calls him Daniel, and it never clicked till right now. But Marvel actually deleted a scene of having Doctor Strange and Daniel meet. And like I said, since Daniel kind of works alongside his brother, he's technically Brother Voodoo as well. I kind of get why they might have deleted the scene, probably waiting for a better script to do a Brother Voodoo movie. But having the scene would have added a lot more when Jericho actually does meet Stephen. Their first meeting actually went down in 1981 in Doctor Strange number 48. As the Daniel spirit is possessed by a demon, and this actually starts controlling Brother Voodoo. This could make for an interesting movie if that's the route Marvel wants to go in the future. But I know I'm late on this. Please tell me I'm not the only one that didn't know that was Daniel Drumm.
So there's a lot to unpack from that clip. I want to start with palmistry and the idea of being born under a bad sign or on a bad day or to bad parents or bad whatever, right? In palmistry, for example, if you look at the base of your thumb and you have a straight line going across as opposed to disconnected lines, the more disconnected that section is, the more your bloodline has possibly been scattered or been disconnected from your current incarnation or your current self, right? That is the theory. There's levels to this. I can't stress this enough because I'm going to try to take my time, but once we start going, we go kind of hard with this. Anybody who's familiar with 5D chess, let's just start with chess, right? Before we go to the 5D. You're going to need to understand a few different things. And at this stage, what I'm noticing from a lot of people, we're collectively lazier than I've ever seen. We can blame it on a myriad of different things, but it would be best and smartest to blame it on the times. Peace, Noble Richard Jones. L, thank you for joining Islam. I say that because this grand game that we're playing, though most of us are not cognizant of it, that awareness is changing rapidly. And it has no choice but to. I'm going to actually play another clip so I can begin to make this make a little bit more sense a little bit sooner.
Amidst the swirling mists of occultism and spiritualism, two formidable figures emerged, Pascal Beverly Randolph and Madame Helena Blavatsky. Both were renowned for their mastery of esoteric arts, each harboring powerful abilities in witchcraft. Pascal Beverly Randolph, an African-American occultist, medical doctor, and spiritualist, was a charismatic figure known for his teachings on sexual magic and Rosicrucianism. His knowledge was vast, and his abilities in manipulating unseen forces were legendary. Randolph's magic was grounded in the principles of love, personal power, and self-transformation. On the other side stood Madame Helena Blavatsky, a Russian occultist and the co-founder of the Theosophical Society. Blavatsky's reputation as a powerful medium and mystic was unparalleled. She claimed to communicate with ascended masters and drew from a deep well of ancient wisdom. Her teachings synthesized Eastern and Western esoteric traditions, and she wielded her magic with a fierce, almost elemental force. The psychic battles between these two titans of the occult were both spectacular and subtle, fought on astral planes and through intricate rituals. Randolph, with his emphasis on personal empowerment, often clashed with Blavatsky's grand, universal visions. Their battles were not merely for dominance, but were also ideological, each seeking to prove the superiority of their esoteric philosophies. In one particularly intense encounter, Randolph invoked the ancient spirits of his Rosicrucian lineage to challenge Blavatsky's control over elemental forces. As he chanted incantations under the full moon, the air crackled with energy, and a spectral light enveloped him. Blavatsky, in response, summoned the guardians of the Akashic records, her eyes glowing with an otherworldly fire. The very fabric of reality seemed to warp as their wills clashed. The psychic duel raged on, each mage pushing the limits of their power. Randolph's magic, rooted in love and personal mastery, created protective wards and countered Blavatsky's elemental manipulations with precision and resilience. Blavatsky's magic, drawing on the cosmic and eternal, unleashed torrents of energy that sought to overwhelm Randolph's defenses. Despite the intensity of their battles, neither could claim absolute victory. Instead, their encounters served to elevate their craft and sharpen their skills. In the end, the psychic battles between Pascal Beverly Randolph and Madame Helena Blavatsky became legendary tales within the esoteric community, symbolizing the eternal struggle between personal empowerment and universal enlightenment, individual mastery, and cosmic unity. However, a dark rumor circulated among the esoteric circles regarding their final confrontation. It was whispered that during their last psychic battle, Madame Blavatsky unleashed a devastating spell, one so powerful and insidious that it broke through Randolph's defenses and seized control of his mind. That night, it was said, under the influence of Blavatsky's enchantment, Randolph turned his own gun on himself and took his life. The truth of this rumor remained shrouded in mystery, adding a tragic and sinister chapter to the legendary rivalry between these two masters of the occult. Their legacies continued to influence the paths of countless seekers of hidden knowledge, each inspired by the legendary psychic duels and the haunting tales of their ultimate fates.
Okay, so Love, Peace, and Power, Magic Lacroix, just like he said, Blavatsky stole Pascal's work. Indeed, a lot of people stole Pascal Beverly Randolph's work to the point where we have a character in fiction now named Dr. Stephen Strange, aka Dr. Strange, Sorcerer Supreme, right? That whole character, shout out to Isaiah the Duke of Tears, done magnificent work on Black Herman and Pascal Beverly Randolph, breaking that down. That's something that needs to be known. But I want to give another shout out to the Magic Lacroix for tackling something I'm about to try to hit and make a little bit of sense of racism, right? Racism is very, very easy to get lost in, right? I mean, fuck, we can get lost. We can get lost in anything down here, right? So I want you to think about something because especially us, and by us, I mean Black folk, melanated, indigenous, Moorish, original, aboriginal. I don't really give a fuck what name you want to pick. You tell me a name that isn't yours, and then I'll tell you why, where, and how you're creating division, right? Because it's all you, even what we want to call so-called white people, right? So, if you don't fuck with them, if they don't fuck with you, you had a hard life and redlining, and Martin Luther King said he integrated us into a burning house. There has to be a spiritual implication behind all of that, right? Because nothing here is just for nothing, right? That's the way this works. So understanding that, being able to identify, learn from that perspective is going to be imperative. It's imperative now. It's going to be even more so exponentially going forward in the future, right? So cardology is, in my opinion, one of the oldest sciences we have, right? Shout out to Aquarius Maximus, who was in that clip, that magnificent clip with Pascal Beverly Randolph and Helena Blavatsky, both of whom were ace of diamonds. It's going to be very important, right? They were both ace of diamonds, born on different days, but under the same energy. I'm not going to give you a big lesson on cardology tonight. I want to use it as a tool to learn, but I have included in the description links for Aquarius Maximus, her magnificent mother, Diamonds 8, Nina Dunham, and Jazz Aphrodite, Jackie Levine. Their links are in the description of this video. I'm going to add them to my link tree. I cannot recommend their works, their classes, their books enough. And I want to show you why, especially with Aquarius Maximus's Patreon and her cardology app in a little bit. We can be very emotional, right? We get lost in our emotions very, very quickly. And most of the time it's for nothing, or it's not to our gain, right? So, peace, Caribbean Grimoire. Thank you for joining. Peace, God. Exactly, legend. October 8th. Yeah, Ace of Diamonds. When you look into our mythology, you'll come across the Dogon people, right? You'll come across mermaids, mermen, Oya, the water goddesses, right? You come across when the time when Atlantis, we lived under the water, right? You can see this reflected in Black Panther, Wakanda Forever, as much of a, I'm not sure what to call that movie, because I actually like it more than I like part one, but it's about dealing with grief. So I understand why it didn't resonate. The loss of Chadwick Boseman was massive, regardless of what anyone may choose to think of it. But the movie was about dealing with grief, right? That's talking about spade energy, that elder energy, right? That's going to be that's going to be on the test later, so you want to remember that. When we look at mass media, how we are presented, how our science is corrupted, stolen, inverted, sold back to us. Again, it's very easy to get lost in that. So, we had to go from living under the water, in the emotion, to living on land so that we could deal with our own individual emotion, or at least under the pretense, under the auspice, under the idea that we are separated or we are individuals, right? The more you get into this occult study, the more you know that that's just not the case, right? So thank you, Masri, for sharing the link. I appreciate that. there's several examples from the last few years in terms of movies. I can remember because even myself, I remember falling for the okie doke. I remember falling for the okie doke of Passion of the Christ, right? I was new, fresh to so many different things when that movie came out. But I knew it was representative of what I thought was the black man, right? The black Messiah, especially when it came to the way that he was beaten, right? It's easy to get lost in the emotion of that, especially when you look at the idea of who's making and financing, writing, and producing these movies. We have to learn to see beyond that. That is a very, very old tactic and trick. And it's we're better than that. We're smarter than that. And then to sit around complaining about it and still taking part, it's like how many ways do you want to kill yourself? How many ways do you want to stay stagnated and stay locked into the same ritual, locked into the same pattern? Do you not see the pattern? Does it have to be pointed out? All right. Well, we're gonna find out. That's what I'm gonna try to figure out, or try to get you to think about a little bit more collectively tonight. Um, Gods of Egypt a few years ago was another okey doke movie, especially for those in the comedic sciences. Whether you believe Egypt is in Northeast Africa or if it's North America or the entirety of the world, um, many of us didn't see that movie, understandably so, even though Chadwick Boseman was also the only god depicted in that movie who was melanated, and that was Tahuti, right? They dropped a lot of science in that movie. They showed you flat Earth. They showed you the 72 Goetia. They showed you so many different things, right? Another would be Exodus, Gods and Kings. Christian Bale as Moses, right? We've seen that over and over and over again. So we can easily get lost in the emotion, but if we pay attention, something is trying to be conveyed. So I'm stressing that before we go through Doctor Strange and his connection to Pastor Beverly Randolph, the hows and the whys of that. With the idea of this being an election year, I don't know what the fuck is going on. You know what I mean? I did my absolute best to not talk about this election all year because I don't care. I've never voted. I'll never vote. I just don't care. Symbolically, I can understand what these candidates represent, right? But here's what I don't get. I see more quote unquote conscious people talking about voting and talking about policy and making a lot of good points. You know, it's amazing how much people actually pay attention. But with so many elections, arguably every election being stolen, especially 2000 in Florida with Bush Jr. and his governor, Jeb Bush, the governor of Florida at the time, especially 2016 with Trump, because nobody saw that coming, right? 2020, supposedly nobody saw that coming, but it was stolen, and it's been proven. There's been over 10 documentaries, you know, and nothing has come of that. And now we're back to this point of Barack Obama is making appearances to try to shame black men for not seeing a choice that's so clear. That shit is hilarious. And nobody seems to be falling for it. I'm not going to tell you who to vote for because, again, like I said, I don't vote and I couldn't give a fuck less. But something is still being conveyed here. So, the idea that you have Kamala Harris, who's born in a dragon year, and Donald Trump, who's born in a dog year, that alone should tell you something. But what is the purpose of voting when they steal elections anyway? And what the fuck are you going to do about it if they do it again? So, that's just something to think about, as you contemplate your choices in this election, supposed choices. Okay, so let me show you something. If I can make this thing work correctly. Again, shout out to Aquarius Maximus. This is from her card of the name, place, or thing in cardology. You can get access to this via her Patreon. This app will save you a lot of time, and I'm telling you that as a professional decoder. What's interesting is, again, we know that these characters have been inverted. Doctor Strange is an inversion of Pascal Beverly Randolph. So when you look at their names, not just their birthday, but their names, the energy of the name, they're the same. So Doctor Strange, as you see here, is a 3 of hearts. And Pascal Beverly Randolph is also a 3 of hearts. Interesting. That makes that change out that much easier, right? So I want to stress that because your birthday is as equally as powerful and important as your name, right? You can change it. Maybe you have weaker vowels or stronger consonants or vice versa. You can always change it. This is where our nicknames come from, right? This is where our business names come from. This is where our secret comedic names come from. This is where our occult names, our lodge names, all of these different things. That's where they come from. That's why you can't really choose a name that isn't for you. 9 times out of 10, if you choose another name, even if it be a nickname or something that just kind of fits you, there's a reason why, especially if you look at it alphanumerically. So understand that media, this is all they run under because they can't afford for slip-ups. And they have to deal with a great many of them just because of the incompetence of people. So you need to be able to go off the frequency or the energy of a person, place, or thing, right? Completely, especially when it comes to media, because you're projecting this energy as something else. So in cardology, there's the premise of or the tenet of a karma card, right? If you look at the grand solar spreads, you'll see where your card sits is actually in the house of his karmic cousin, right? So it's like if you live in a house or you live in an apartment, wherever you live, you're paying rent to someone, you're paying mortgage to someone. But in the same way, on the supporting karmic side, you have another card that's paying you, right? So there's this dualistic aspect. The duality covers everything from the red and the black, night and day, hot and cold. You can see it any which way, every way. It's all dualistic. That has to be covered in the realm of film. That has to be covered in what they show you on TV. That has to be covered in the news. It has to be covered in music. But they give it to you on a lower end. So you have a positive and negative polarity to every card. So let me give you an example. people who go from relationship to relationship, right? Men, women, that doesn't matter, whoever. People who do that and then complain about the people that they attract. They don't realize that they're attracting them based on their mindset, based on what they are putting out. The more aware of that they become, the more that changes. In other words, we can also say the more you come into your actual knowledge yourself, the more you become who you actually are, the more you can attract what's actually meant for you. You see how that works? So again, the idea of getting lost in emotion, getting lost in this racism is really ridiculously redundant at this point, because we've fallen away so far from our memory, our record of what we have done. If we created these people, we created them to do exactly what they're doing. We've had, shout out to everybody in North Carolina, in Florida. I'm very thankful for all my family and friends who have made it through those hurricanes and those storms. I hope yours have as well. It's extremely telling when you look at the idea of energy being released via HARP to wipe something off the map, right? Because there's always going to be a reason. Oh, there's the world's biggest lithium deposit not far from Asheville. So, oh, of course, wipe that out, just like they did in Lahaina in Maui, right, last year. Okay, but that doesn't serve you, because you can decode that, you can point it out, but what the fuck are you going to do about it? You see what I'm saying? It's like, it's such a waste of energy. If you slap me, I promise you I'm going to shoot you. Right? I'm not going to, you're not getting away with that. You slap my people, I'm going to do something worse to you. Right? So how can you make that serve you? Well, if these people have the control of these machines that can alter these weather patterns and do all these things, didn't we know that when we created them? So they're doing what the fuck we created them to do, right? So what's the use in getting mad? That's obviously not really the move here. You can get mad if you want to, but somebody got to point that bullshit out. You know what I'm saying? I want to go back to the idea of perspective. So another reason I love this app so much is because you can just, something can pop in your head and, well, what's the card for that? So I thought about people today, and I thought about, what I've been seeing based on this election in terms of not just racism. The racism is easy. That's everyone's going to kind of cover that one way or another. What was not being covered quite as much, what I'm not hearing as much, is the genderism, the self-hate. I'm seeing, God damn, I ain't heard nobody say this, but I'm not listening hard enough. But somebody can tell me in the comments or somewhere, if Kamala ain't black, what the fuck is she? Because I know Latinos can say that they're white, right? Indians, red dot people, East Indian people can say that they're Caucasian, right? Asians are Caucasian, Asian. I mean, this where do we choose to see that division? How far does it actually go? Because last time I checked, the Indus Kush Valley was black as a motherfucker. Am I wrong? You know what I'm saying? I don't know. I don't really. It just doesn't make sense to me, and then to get lost about it. Um, so, what does it take to be done with something? What does it take to move on, leave it alone, get fed up, have enough to just throw something away? What does it take to actually turn something into trash, right? What is the card of trash, right? The card of trash is the Ace of Spades. That one was like a gut punch. You remember in the first Doctor Strange when the Ancient One knocked Doctor Strange's spirit the fuck out his body? That's what that did to me. The Ace of Spades, that's a powerful card. It represents ambition. It represents death. It represents rebirth. It represents secrets, mystery, the mystery systems, paranoia, the occult, maybe a new job, right? But it is also the card of trash. And I found that so intriguing because anybody who's ever played a game of any kind of cards, any kind of card game, that's the card you always see on the front of the box, right? That Ace of Spades. So what does that mean? Why is this game everywhere you look? Anybody who's familiar with astrology, anyone who's familiar with numerology, gematria, like I mentioned before, 5D chess, you should get into cardology. It would behoove you to get into cardology. It's actually the easiest, but there is so much to it. But in the same way that you know the characters in the zodiac, in the same way that you know the gods of every pantheon, in the same way you know the frequencies of numbers and letters, most of these cards you already know. One of my favorite cards is the Nine of Clubs. Nine of Clubs is the card representative of cardology. Nine of Clubs is a very powerful card because it goes all across the year. To give you an example, Brother Panic was a Nine of Clubs. Nine of Clubs is about expansion. It's about growth exponentially. It's about power. It's a very, very powerful card. And I couldn't understand why that card kept coming around me. But the further you look into your own past, the more you can see this script that you've already written, that you've already agreed to, where patterns have to be repeated until you become cognizant of it. And that's where the game changes. For me, that's where it becomes fun. Because you can see where you can remove this or you can add this or you can subtract the negative aspect and add the positive, right? Especially when you have dual energies. Again, like I said, I'm not going to get too deep into this because there's a lot of rants. There's a lot of rants wrapped up in this. I'm not going to do y'all like that tonight. So, trash, what we throw away, can become gold for other people, right? One thing we do, and in my opinion, in my small 43 years of being here, we have far too much of our business in the street to the point where it has become business for other people. We fuel everything. And I think that's because we see so little worth in ourselves, right? When other people tell us we the shit, whew, sky's the limit. When we tell us we the shit, yep, that's about that. That shit is fake as fuck, yo. Like, and it's not about the props. It's not about the accolades. For me, it's damn sure not about that shit. It's not about none of that. You know, for some people it is. And that's all right because you can see that in their card. You can see that in their birthday. You can see that in their name. If you can't already see it in their actions. I pray you see it in their actions first. So you won't have to go to those levels. I wouldn't say extremes because if more of us operated under these auspices, if more of us knew these systems, I guarantee you there'd be a whole lot less complaining going on. Because this is your shit. Let me say this about cardology too before I get off the subject. When you look into the history of cardology, because you'll notice, you know, when white folks know a little something or they've had access to something, because you got to remember, they know you are their parents. I don't give a fuck who that piss off or whatever. That's why I got strikes on this motherfucker now. I don't care. Like, they're going to tell you what it is. That's what you made them for. They are your children. Whether you want to accept that or not, all you got to do is look at their actions. Because they treat you like mommy and daddy. Not to mention that you're the moral compass of every fucking thing they do. I saw some bullshit earlier today where the Democratic Party or whatever you call them niggas are partnering with the black church trying to get the vote out. You know what I'm saying? Like, word? I mean, shit. I can't be surprised. People still going to church. They'll fall for that, sure. You know what I mean? I'm not mad at that, though. See, they need people to be mad at that so you can get more of a reaction. That chaotic energy forces them to inflict what they call order. And collectively, we fall back and say, do what you do. That don't serve us. Again, what serves you is knowing how to play the game. You can't play the game if you don't know the rules. It's kind of like hustling. You know what I'm saying? You got no business hustling in the street doing whatever you do if you don't know what kind of time you're looking at, right? So, you know, you do what you do and you get hit with all these numbers, these football numbers. Oh, my God. You didn't know that you was already looking at that? Ignorance of the law is no excuse. That's times 10 spiritually. And we're talking about dual energy, duality, which is blatantly representative in cardiology. It's representative in everything. It's in tarot, it's in gematria, it's in numerology, it's in palmistry. I like what Jazz Aphrodite said, Jackie Levine, she called it triangulation. You utilize numerology, cardiology, and numerology, and tarot. But there's so much more. Something is going to call to you. I don't care what it is. Whatever is calling to you, the more you listen to it, the more you strengthen and utilize your intuition. You got to strengthen that muscle. You can see which cards or which numbers or which zodiacs or which days or which gods or which goddesses, all and any of that, help facilitate the growth of that. You can also see what negates and takes away from that. But either you want to know or you don't. I recommend you learn for yourself. I see a lot. I'm very thankful for all the people I see, especially like on TikTok, all the numerologists, all the astrologists. Get in where you get in. It don't matter. There's infinite doors to light. There's infinite doors to enlightenment, whatever works. But you have to do it. You have to learn yourself. I don't push my readings like some other people because I'd rather you learn. That's why I built the digital library. You know what I'm saying? That's free until January. In January, that's going to be changing. If you go to my link tree, you can find my Telegram, my digital library, over 50,000 books, largely of the occult that you can download for free. Get in while you can. You know what I'm saying? The price ain't going to be nothing crazy at all because it's not about money. But after come January, you're going to have to pay to get in. You know what I mean? Like next year's a 9-year. Shout out to King Simon. King Simon went hard yesterday. I greatly appreciate that guy. Consistently teaching and pushing the boundaries. I can watch him without sound and still learn. And shout out to Lloyd Strayhorn also. The more layers you pull back from yourself, the more beautiful, the more powerful, the more original, the more authentic you become. So, you know, I like the idea of doing any and everything in your meditations. You know, pouring that creativity, pouring that passion, pouring that emotion, giving it an outlet, especially when you can be creative with that. But I want you to remember, you know, especially in terms of these occult sciences, they're really arts and they're very interpretive. You'll notice when you see different people do numerology or do astrology or do cardology, you'll get different interpretations, especially with cardology. If you look in for anybody in the Telegram, you'll find a great number of books on the Destiny cards, cardology card, whatever there's so many different names, from the original, the Mystic textbook, to the Cards of Destiny, to the Love cards by Robert Lee Camp, on and on and on. And I cannot recommend Nina Dunham's books enough. You exist in so many different spaces, from your palmistry to your astrology, be it Eastern or Western, to your birth card, to your life path, to your destiny number, to your soul. How many, your higher and lower self, how many different versions of you are there just in this supposed reality? If you want to talk about destiny swapping and jumping to other dimensions, you can do all that. But deal with your shit in this dimension. Deal with your shit at the house before you go party at somebody else's. Maybe deal with the stuff in your neighborhood before you go spend money in somebody else's. Maybe support your own. Maybe support yourself. Maybe you make sure your cup is full before you pour into somebody else's. Otherwise, you're depleting yourself, and that don't serve nobody, even the person you're giving it to. It's actually more of a detriment to them because they'll come to be dependent on it, even though it hurts you, whether they see it or not, whether they choose to see it or not. The important question is, do you choose to see it? One more movie I want to recommend is Being John Malkovich. Being John Malkovich shows you how, to the subconscious mind, there is no one else other than you. Everyone else that you come in contact with is just another version of you. So if your subconscious mind, which is the most powerful part of your mind, if that's how it sees reality and is 60 to 90 times stronger than the conscious mind, why are we stuck? Why do we choose to be stuck in the conscious mind? See, Haru is only as strong as you allow him to be. But Haru ain't fucking with Ra. Right? Form denotes function, but you are multifunctional. Never be one-dimensional, especially if you're great at one thing. I know that's going to sound crazy to people, but if you're great at one thing, you can be great at everything. It's just about how you choose to approach it, how you choose to see it. It don't matter how great I think and know you to be if you don't. I can't carry that water for you. As much as I want to, as much as I can try. You got to lift that up. Heat it, steam it, purify it, put it in the sauna, do what you do, but you got to utilize that. Because if you don't, it will be siphoned from you. Can you see that process happening now? Amongst the youth, amongst the elders, amongst these supposed thick-ass leaders, against these people who scream this, that, and the third about this occult shit, but all they want to do is sell you something. Man, listen, I'm going to get the fuck out of here before I really go on with my fucking rant, yo. Again, I want to thank Aquarius Maximus for everything that she does. I want to thank Nita Diamond for everything that she does. Jazz Aphrodite, King Simon, Lloyd Strayhorn, I see the Duke of Tears, Magic LaCroix, my big sister Visa over at Culturally Speaking. I want to thank y'all for what y'all do, man. Y'all don't get enough flowers, but y'all gonna hear it from me whether you like it or not. 'Cause I appreciate it. Give people their flowers while they're here, man. We done lost too many people this year to not have learned that lesson. You know, when people die in a family, the family tends to come together, if only for the funeral. So when we lose so many icons, so many people spiritually, what the fuck does that say to you? Enjoy the time you got. And if you got people who love you and people you love, let them know while you can. It's not a fucking game. Tomorrow ain't promised, man. So I love, peace, and power to all of you. I thank you for joining me. Facebook, YouTube, Instagram. I will be back next week. I'm not even going to speak on that. I will be back next week. I'm very, very thankful. Anyone who is interested in a reading, numerology, gematria, cartology, human design, astrocartography, you name it, hit me up on my link tree. If you don't resonate with me, take a look at my link tree, and there's other people you may resonate with. It's not all about me. Follow your intuition, follow your spirit, and use your discernment. You know, people are here to serve you, not to profit and just get rich. It's about service. You should walk away empowered, not just feeling good, empowered. You should have homework. You should have resources, right? All of these kinds of things. So, make sure that you're spending everything, your energy, where it's being reciprocated, where it's being appreciated. Love, peace, and power, y'all. I'm going to get on out of here. Thank you for joining me yet again.